On Wednesday night, following the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I made a response video. I posted it online, and it remained there for about 30 minutes before I decided to take it down. Not necessarily because I felt like the majority of what I had to say was incorrect or wrong, but more so because I felt like it wasn't very productive. It was an emotional reaction, and I was operating under a lot of assumptions that at the time I was not able to prove. I decided it was better to take a beat, pray for a little while, and then return to the subject in a more relaxed and rational manner. So, that's what this video is. Hi folks, I'm Paul, and this is my take. In my initial response video, I immediately jumped to the conclusion that leftist rhetoric caused this act of violence. And at the time, I don't think that was entirely accurate. It was a sloppy reaction. However, as more information has come to light and we've learned more about who this shooter actually is, my initial accusation may have been revealed to be more correct than not. And while many prominent left-wing voices are still trying to spin this as the shooter being to the right of Charlie Kirk, claiming he's a groyper, which makes no sense. This is after we've learned that there were inscriptions on the bullet casings saying things like, "Hey fascist, catch." Now work with me here. If a very prominent groyper by the name of Pinesap was recently roasted for being a self-proclaimed fascist in a Jubilee video, why would someone who identifies in that sort of way take a shot at someone else that they would accuse of being a fascist? It's pretty obvious at this point from everything that we've discovered that the shooter is indeed a left-wing radical. Likely indoctrinated by left-wing influences, call them Marxists, Antifa, agitators, whatever you want to call them. Probably an amalgam of extremes, both online and probably in the classroom as well. If you've spent any amount of time on platforms like Reddit, it's clear that there is an extremely left-wing bent to a lot of the conversations taking place there. And for the last decade, and probably even longer, these conversations have ratcheted up the temperature. The temperature regarding the labels the left continues to give their opponents has only risen in recent years. Hitler comparisons, Nazi comparisons, accusations of racism, fascism, and all manner of attitudes and ideologies that have been vociferously branded as some of the most evil and wicked in the world have been continuously thrown at people on the right from people on the left, both in public and in private, with no justification. You think people like Charlie Kirk are Nazis? On what grounds? That we might be fiscally conservative? That we believe abortion is murder? Or how about an extremely milquetoast opinion? That we believe you should be judged by your merit and not by some shade of brown that you are, and therefore we oppose DEI practices and affirmative action. Do you genuinely believe that those positions make a person rightfully fit for the label of fascist? And with those accusations comes the implication that the world would be a better place if it didn't have those people that held those positions. And these labels might give someone the moral justification to harm them or worse. Hey, that guy who disagrees with us, he's a Nazi. You know what we can do to Nazis? We can kill them. Charlie Kirk was actually a pretty moderate individual on the right, and to see the number of ghouls, just outright demon people, celebrating his assassination, many of whom are people that I have known personally, that has been extremely revealing. Seeing this gleeful, smug approval, this mocking response to the murder of a man whose entire career was based on politely engaging in conversation with people on the left, makes it evidently clear that they would have the same reaction were it anyone to at least Charlie Kirk's right who were to take a bullet through the neck. And that's frightening. You know people like this. You go to school with them. You shop at the same grocery store. Maybe you even work with them. Maybe they're teaching your children. And these people clearly have no grasp on the sanctity of life. Or if they do, it must be qualified in some way or another. Of course, Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die. But, no buts, he didn't deserve murder because murder is wrong, it is evil. And if you go so far as to celebrate it, or you cannot bring yourself to admit that it's wrong without some kind of qualifier, you are a dangerous person. You're a bad person. and more people than ever are now aware of that fact. In the wake of this event, we have seen and will continue to see calls to bring down the temperature, to come together, to unify. I have no desire to unify with these people. After decades of their vile rhetoric encouraging the idea that people who share my beliefs and opinions should be oppressed, ostracized, and murdered, their cries and condemnation of political violence ring entirely hollow. If these cries aren't accompanied by some form of introspection, I don't want to hear them, and I won't bring down the temperature. I can't share a country with people who make TikTok videos celebrating the idea that someone they disagreed with was violently murdered. The reality is, they have shown no interest in turning down the temperature. They have shown no interest in moderation, in debate, in compromise, and this assassination and the reaction to it has solidified that in my mind and in the minds of many, many other people. I'll be honest, I wasn't even a particularly big fan of Charlie Kirk. I felt like he was probably too soft on a lot of issues. But I recognized that his job as a political figure was to be a reasonable person. I've seen it described that he has the politics of your boomer uncle or your coworker, someone that you wish was a little bit more with it, a little bit more on top of it, but you still respected their position. And speaking personally, I immensely respected Charlie Kirk's dedication and commitment to his ideas. He believed in having a discussion, in winning the argument, in winning the battle through this non-violent way of talking. He devoted his entire career to the democratic method of speaking freely and having a good faith engagement with people who disagreed with him. He died doing that. He died being a moderating force, and I fear that political moderation may have well died with him. And I say that as a lament. Charlie Kirk is a martyr and an inspiration. And this past week has hardened my resolve to speak boldly and truthfully just like he did. I no longer believe that America's political system is comprised of two major parties being Republican and Democrat. Rather, it is comprised of two major people groups, one of whom love America and want to preserve it, and the other who hate it and want to see it destroyed. At this point, I have no interest in compromising. At this point, to be aligned with what the left wing has become is essentially to deny the value of life, and in many ways, to deny reality itself. It is to call evil good and good evil. It is to call a woman a man and a man a woman. It is to call criminals victims and heroes villains. It is to call speech violence and violence speech. It is to lie. And I will no longer tolerate that lie. I will no longer tolerate living with intolerable people. People who think that they can cut the genitals off of children. People who think that it is funny to see the father of two bleed out and die because he had a different opinion than they did. I will not tolerate those who think it is a necessary cost of living in a city to see a woman have her throat slit on a public train. Our ideological worldviews are incompatible. Unity between these two ways of thinking is impossible. The truth of the world is an inversion of what the left tells you it is. We're constantly warned about the threat of white supremacy, about white nationalism being the greatest threat to this nation. But who is being targeted with the majority of the violence right now? People like Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, Nick Fuentes, Steve Scalise? These are all enemies of white right-wing fanatics, right? No. It's the exact opposite. You're going to tell me abortion is healthcare? Are you kidding me? It's death care. You are literally killing a child. The complete disregard for the sanctity of life. Many of women come to this realization only after they've gone through with it, and I cannot imagine the weight that they have to carry. And the left-wing abortion activists are lying through their teeth about that. BLM! Blacks are being victimized by racist police. Shut up. Just shut up. There is an entire gallery of police body cam footage that just obliterates that narrative. To bring back the point about white supremacists, when was the last time you saw neo-Nazis raid a Walgreens in Cincinnati? When was the last time you saw a member of the Aryan Nations hold a man at knife point at an ATM in Brooklyn, New York? I specify location because I've witnessed those things, and it was never done by the people I'm told to worry about. Hate speech turns into hate crime. What crime did Charlie Kirk's speech inspire? Show me one. What part of his rhetoric or ideas spurred someone to do something like, oh, I don't know, shoot somebody else in the neck? Show me how what he said was even hateful. All the while continue to try justifying, calling people like him and others to his right Nazis and fascists, who have deserved every ounce of violence that they have received. The left is the side of tolerance and love? Give me a break. It's all a lie, it's all an inversion of the truth, and I think the assassination of Charlie Kirk is maybe a signal that they probably know that it's a lie, but they just really, really like it. It's getting harder and harder to argue in defense of the lie, and that's why the argument had to be ended. The debate is over. Discussions are done. They killed the one guy most willing to give that to them, and they celebrated it. Disgusting. Vile. Shocking. But not surprising. To be aligned with these people is to deny reality. It is to worship death. That might sound like hyperbole, but I don't think it is. All of these prior flashpoints and events are indicators of that. If you have lost your humanity, if you are jubilant over murder, be it abortion, street violence, assassination, or anything in between, you are on the evil side, and I will not share a space with you. Anyway, that's all I've got for today, but I'm interested to know what you think. How has this week affected you? Has it inspired you in any way? Has it revealed something to you that you previously didn't know? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. As always, if you enjoy my content and would like to see more, I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and I will see you all next time.